it's the guys that you're actually attracting because you're a magnet for that based on the broadcast signal that you're actually sending out. So it's not the guys really that's the problem.
Wow.
It's you and the signal that you're broadcasting.
Welcome to Detox with Dina and Friends. I'm your host, Dina Theodora, singer, songwriter, and actor. My aim for this podcast is to empower, motivate, and inspire you.
Well, I want to welcome the beautiful Miss Teresa Greco. And what an amazing opportunity that we have to share everything from what you talk about in terms of self-healing and coaching and happiness and all that good stuff. So without further ado, introduce yourself, give our listeners and viewers just a bit of a background of what you do, who you are, how it all started.
Thank you. So yes, my name is Teresa Greco. I'm a happiness coach. I am the host of a weekly internet show called the Steps to Happiness Show. I am an educator, educational technologies consultant. I'm a 2-time best-selling author. I'm the editor at 2 Canadian magazines. I write for 5 magazines, including 3 international ones, and I'm a Reiki master as well.
What is it that, in terms of happiness, would you say are the pillars? Can you say there's specific points that help with true inner happiness?
So I would say that it's understanding that happiness is your essential nature. It's who you really are. And that when we are born into this world, we are love, peace, and happiness, but the world takes us away from that. And so when you understand that happiness is inside you, it's part of you, then it's just a matter of returning to it. So it's not a transient emotion that we feel when things are going right in our life. Happiness is not something that we're striving for, that we're searching for outside of ourselves in our possessions, positions, titles, degrees, relationships, experiences. Is that people put happiness on a list, on a goal list. It's like, I just want to be happy. But did you know that you are happiness already? And so it's just a matter of returning to the happiness that's already inside of you, or connecting and nurturing the happiness that's already inside.
Yes.
So it's no longer a destination. It's not something that you're looking for outside of yourself, in people. I won't be happy until I find that perfect partner. I won't be happy until I find that relationship. I won't be happy until I go on vacation, until I pay off my mortgage, until I get divorced, until what it is where we're always waiting for happiness to come, versus happiness is inside you. It's just a matter of connecting with it. So happiness is really, I would say, like a 2-sided coin, is that if you're not feeling happy, then there could be blocks that are preventing you from feeling the happiness that's inside of you. Or the second half is that you're not making time to nurture and connect to the happiness that's already there inside of you. So it could be 2 things.
And it's so important, like you say, sometimes there's the blocks, right? And so you talk about these, I think you mentioned already, was it 5 things specifically that lead up to what blocks a person and really what affects them to experience that full happiness?
So the 5 things that you're referring to are my top 5 steps to happiness.
Yeah.
So those are really the things that help us to connect and nurture the happiness that's inside of us. With respect to the blocks, I would say the biggest block to our happiness is our false beliefs or limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves and the world.
Yes.
So as I said, we're born love, peace, and happiness, and the world takes us away from that. And so as we're making our way through the world, especially as we're children, we have a lot of beliefs and thoughts and impressions that are given to us from the outside, from a lot of well-meaning people like our parents, educators, religious leaders, friends, family, that tell us things and information about the world that just becomes ingrained within us. And they're beliefs that we really operate by our entire life. And it's almost like a computer program, that these beliefs are ingrained inside of us, that we don't even realize that we live our life by that it is what we understand about the world, about ourselves, who we are, who we'll ever be, what we'll ever be able to do. These are all beliefs that we a lot of times don't question. And for me, part of my happiness story is that, which started 10 years ago, it was that I was approaching 40. And for me, it was like, well, if I've arrived at somewhere, you know, close to half my life, am I happy living the life I am living? Is there more to life than just this? Am I living my true life's purpose and full potential?
Yes.
So it was in the asking of those questions, was I able to recognize that I wasn't happy, although my life checked off all the boxes that family, religion, culture, society tell you that you should have in order to be happy.
Yes.
Right? I had a fulfilling career, beautiful, healthy family, our own home, cars in the driveway, vacations a year, lots of beautiful material things. So my life looks perfect. So how is it that I felt unhappy and unfulfilled if I've achieved all of those things? And it was because there's something missing, or that void in my life was really the real me. That I had been living my life according to external expectations for who I was supposed to be, the perfect mom, the perfect wife, perfect daughter, perfect daughter-in-law, sister, friend, employee, all those different things, and not living my life authentically because of these beliefs that I'm talking about. Is that you don't even realize that you're living your life according to those beliefs, but they do really limit you.
Yes.
I would say another block is people living in the past. Again, if you understand
Big one.
the way our brain operates, it lives 96% of the time in the past. And so it's not a wonder that if our past has those skeletons in it, it has that trauma, that rejection, those mistakes, that we just keep living with those same feelings instead of understanding that we really should be living in the present moment.
So important. I love that. And the fact that you mentioned, the past, is that scientifically proven that,
Yes.
96%?
Yeah, because we live most of the time in the subconscious mind.
Yes.
96 to 99% of the time we live in the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, well, just the mind, the way it operates, it has 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And 95% of those thoughts were the ones from yesterday.
Wow.
So if we're just recycling the same thoughts over and over again, it's very possible that we're very much living in the past, and not even just a yesterday past, but in a far distant past, that you keep recycling those same ideas, the same problems, the same mistakes, the same, I wish it was different. I wish, that didn't happen to me. I wish. And then we just keep bringing that into our current reality instead of understanding that it needs to stay in the past, that it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah,
and you need
gone.
to start. So when you start your day, you just automatically realize this is a thought I'm having from yesterday or the day before, and you just put it aside. And there's obviously things that you have to work on, you have to get done, but you're very picky about your thoughts. That's great.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's being so conscious. So because, as I said, the subconscious mind is 96 to 99, some research shows up to 99%. It gives you, let's say, a 5% margin every day to be conscious. Because most of it is unconscious. We're habitual beings. We do things out of habit most of the time.
Yes.
And so it's only 5% that we can catch those thoughts that we've always been having, and to say stop, and to replace those thoughts with ones that serve you instead.
Because there's some negative thoughts that just keep repeating sometimes, and it's
again.
Knowing how to just say, hey, that thought doesn't serve me, right? You got to just kick it out no matter how hard it is. And no matter who you are or what you do, there's people in all ranks of life. Everyone has bad days. You've written books, you've done amazing coaching, you've worked with renowned women. What is it that you do when you have a bad day and you just can't seem to overcome it no matter what? Some say they use different techniques. What would you say?
So that is one of my top strategies, which is follow your bliss. And following your bliss is really that toolkit of things that help you to connect to the happiness inside of you. So it is important to know what those are. So it could be taking a walk in nature. It could be reading that favorite book. For me, it's listening to those songs on my playlist that it's called my feel good songs. I immediately put those on and feel amazing. It could be exercising, going to the gym. It could be cooking. It could be writing. Could be meditating. It could be yoga. It could be a multitude of things. And so I know what my toolkit consists of. So as soon as I'm starting to feel other than happy, then I know that it's time for me to take out my toolkit.
Yes.
And so this past weekend, for example, was what I needed to do. That last week I had a really difficult week. And what's important is to recognize how your body communicates to you. Our body is so smart, and it tells us in a variety of different ways that we're not in alignment with who we really are. So if we are in alignment, we're feeling that love, peace, and happiness. If we're not in alignment, then we're feeling other than that. So our emotions tell us that we're feeling other than that. Our mind tells us that through our thoughts. Our body communicates that with us, that maybe we're not sleeping. For me, it's that I feel agitated. I have less patience.
Yes.
I feel upset.
Yes. And of course, as women, we have, our hormonal situations, our times of the month. And that also affects us on many levels. Sometimes it's a biological thing that's outside of our control in terms of it's a physiological factor. And it's knowing that that's what it is. And it's, and knowing how to deal with it too.
Yep. I had very stiff shoulders, and that is like, you're carrying the world on your shoulders. So if you have tight neck, tight shoulders, that's also suggesting, so that's my body telling me that, Teresa, you need to, again, turn to your toolkit of things that can help you to get yourself back into alignment.
So like you said, the toolbox is a great thing to help with someone or anyone really that is just going through one of those bad days. They just need to get out of that moment or that funk. Everyone can have a different toolbox. It could be music, it could be cooking, you name it, right? So
it's important for you to know what those are, because they're individual for everybody.
And if you don't have a toolbox, unfortunately, you might resort to things that are not the best outlet, So it's great to have that. What would you say to some women, for example, that are struggling, that are just stuck, and they feel like they can't get out of this rut that they're in, and it's it could be a number of things that is causing it, but what would you give them for advice to get out of that and to just help remove those feelings of being stuck?
That would lead me into talking my top 5 steps to happiness. That these are very simple strategies that when you're feeling very far from happy, then incorporating some of these strategies can help you to tap into that again. And so my first top is a meditation. And meditation is that practice that helps you to connect with your spiritual self, or the energetic part of you, or I call it your inner magic, where your superpowers reside. It's that gut instinct, that intuition, that part of you that talks to you, also communicates to you on many levels. But it really requires you to quiet your mind and to stop and to bring yourself to a place of wherever that could be. It could be your bedroom, it could be out in nature, it could be in your basement, it could be like wherever that place is, that you're able just to center yourself enough and your mind enough to be able to tap into that part of yourself.
And when you say meditation, just sit quietly and just do your breath and focus on that?
So I'm a meditation coach as well, and there's so many different types of meditation, and so not all of them are for everybody. And so again, even with meditation, if you're not sure how to get started, or you've tried one form and it didn't work for you, then it could be worthwhile reaching out to a meditation coach or meditation center as well. That's where I went 10 years ago, because I didn't know. 10 years ago, it wasn't as popular as it is now. And so there is where they helped me to get started. And so there's so many resources out there right now. And so if you've tried one form of meditation that didn't work for you, there are so many others out there. I love guided meditations a lot. Those are ones that really allow you to have a visual in your mind, that they're usually talking you through some kind of story, and it gives you a focus. And that focus allows you to basically focus on something else other than what you have to do, other than your problems, other than what's going to happen next week, or even in the past again.
Because as human beings, we're always worrying, or we're thinking of either what happened or what is going to happen, or how is it going to happen. And that's a real challenge, living in this world that we live in with the fast-pacedness, how to get out of that and just, like you said, be in the moment. And so practicing that as much as possible, right, is really the key to getting out of that feeling stuck. Number 2
would be gratitude would be another practice that you can immediately integrate. So gratitude is directly correlated with happiness, that the more grateful we are for the small things in our life, the happier we feel. So it's not waiting for that promotion, again, to be happy and grateful. It's not waiting for things to line up in order for you to be grateful. I'm grateful all day long that for every little thing that I'm able to do. The biggest thing that I'm grateful for is waking up every morning, that I have another day to live. It's like, thank you.
That is
and
beautiful.
then it's the clothes that I get to wear, the coffee that I get to drink, the job that I get to go to, the people that I get to meet, the car that takes me around. It's like on and on and on. And so overall, and it becomes a habit the more that you practice it. So it's like your mind, you're really training your mind to think about all of the good things that are happening versus focusing on all the problems. It takes practice. It doesn't and so I started with a gratitude practice where every night before I went to bed, I thought about it. Was one of the things, and now I do it all the time, but before it became a habit, it was like every night I went through all of the different things that I was grateful for that day.
So important. And the day, and in the morning too. I love doing that. Number 3
would be being in the present moment.
Yes.
And so mindfulness is an excellent practice to do that, because it really attunes all your senses to be very present to what's happening in this very moment. So not being distracted on your phone or watching TV.
Big one.
Or, right, that you see a lot of people out with people and then they're all on their individual phones. I'm like, you're not making the most of what this moment is offering you, or what this moment is trying to show you as well, right? So even when you go for a walk in nature, again, a lot of people are distracted on their phones instead of what is your environment trying to offer
the colors
you?
The leaves or whatever, wherever you are, the water.
Yeah.
Number 4?
Self-love. So that's actually, that was number 2, but self-love is really the base of everything. It all comes down to how much we love ourselves. And when we love ourselves, we then treat ourselves different in so many different ways. So when I started to tap into the love inside of me, which meditation actually led me to, because it allows you to go inward where that love, peace, and happiness is found.
Yes.
And so I was able to connect to the love that was inside of me that I had been looking for outside myself my whole life.
Wow.
In all of my relationships, looking for love versus not knowing that I was love myself.
Wow.
And so when you're loving yourself, then you don't mentally, then I stopped all the negative self-talk. For me, it was, I was never smart enough, never skinny enough, never pretty enough, never athletic enough, never enough of a lot of things. And those were all those false beliefs that I inherited, that were all implanted, through the living of my life, that then became my own self-talk, what I said to myself all the time on repeat, awful things.
And a lot of times are passed from us without even knowing, sometimes from family or from close people that we're associated with. That's beautiful.
Going through school. So then I was like, wow, I'm not loving myself at all when I'm telling myself all of these things.
Yeah.
And so that, again, the love inside me helped me to realize that I wasn't speaking loving things to me.
Wow.
Also, when you're loving yourself, you're going to treat yourself physically in a different way. You're going to feed your body healthy and nutritious food, that you're not going to harm your body by ingesting, too much alcohol or drugs or processed foods or things that your body is not good for your body. So you're loving your body on that way. Yes. And emotionally, when you're loving yourself so much, then all you do is exude love. And because you just want love for everybody else as well. And so if we only loved ourselves more, then we would be more loving to others. And so that's what's important too, is that, as a mother, many of us are running on empty, that we're not loving ourselves the way we need to, because we're putting everyone else's needs before our own.
Yes.
And so it's important that we're always making sure that our cup is full, so that we can be 100% or who we need to be for others.
Yes.
So loving ourselves is huge. huge. And the last one is following your bliss.
Wow.
And so that we talked about knowing what those blissful activities are. A lot of people don't, because they work like instead of maybe 40 hours, or they're working 80 hours, which leaves them very little time to connect with the happiness inside of them.
Yes.
Or they've been living their life again according to external expectations. And so when they're now like empty nesters, for example, mothers that have been living their life for their kids, their friends are all like their kids' parents that they're friends with. Now their kids are all off to school and they're left alone, or they're retired, and it's like, well, oh my God, you have all this free time to do what you love. And it's like, well, I don't know what that is.
So true. You know, a lot of people, they just don't plan their golden years.
And not knowing what it is, right? And so then it's really, there are again some strategies that you can use to figure out what is that, what are the things that you desire in your life that you have an opinion about. You know, that it's not that someone else likes it or someone else told you that you should do it. It's because you recognize that for yourself as being something that you prefer or that you desire. So knowing what those activities are that can help you to connect. So it's not the activity. That's the important thing to recognize, is people think it's the activity. So because of COVID, right? It's like, oh, I can't go out to dinner. Oh, I can't go to the movies. Oh, I can't. It's not those activities that give you happiness. Though what those activities allow you to do is to tap into the happiness that's always there inside of you.
So important to mention that, because we're always looking for outside factors, external things, when you already are. You have to tell yourself you're happy with yourself where you are, and everything just adds to it.
Yes. It's like cherry on top. And so I didn't need to go and have a drink on a patio at a restaurant to feel happy. I can sit on my back patio and have a drink and feel happy as well, because happiness is inside of me. It's not the location that's providing the happiness, or even the people, right? It's not the people that are providing the happiness. Is that when you're present and really enjoying the company that you're with, you're feeling happy. It's because in that moment you're tapping into the happiness that's inside you.
Beautiful. Now, on a personal note, some relationship questions. We won't get too personal, but just from one of the top questions that came to my mind, and a lot of women are always asking me, you know, what is something that you can kind of advise women on that are single, that are looking to be in a relationship or hoping to find their partner? What would you advise them how to go about?
I love that question. So it really ties into the energy that's inside of us. And so we have to really
Thanks again for joining in. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment below. Make sure to also find us on Instagram @DetoxWithDina and my personal page @DinaTheodora. Stay tuned and catch you next time.